So, I heard you saw a movie the other day.
Well, I've seen a couple movies, but this one is actually the first time I've seen it, which is strange because you would have thought I would have seen it by this point, right?
Yeah, like you've seen every movie we've seen.
I've seen a bit, but this was an interesting case in this case.
Oh yeah?
Alright. I suppose we ought to say what the movie was first, right?
Well, what is this movie?
Well, that movie would be the movie Clue now.
I haven't even saw it too, but I want to know what you thought of it.
I thought it was an interesting case with this movie because it's a case of a movie being based on a board game that didn't totally suck, actually, for once. Because, frankly, when it comes to movies based on board games, a lot of the time they either focus too much on the board game aspect or don't focus on enough. And in those cases, it usually doesn't work because it feels like, what's the point, really, right?
Right.
Exactly. In Clue's case, here's what they do. They focus on They don't focus on references. They focus on telling a good story. Actually, with this.
Well, basically, Clue is just like a whodunit.
Exactly. Before I start with that, let's start with a little history on this film. So, essentially, the script for this came first as an idea from John Landis, of all people.
John Landis, as in the John Landis?
Yeah, this was something he made in around the time he just made, like, American Werewolf in London and Blues Brothers, just between that time period kind of thing.
Okay.
And he really loved the board game, and he also wanted to make his interpretation of a very serious crime drama kind of thing, like a sort of like those murder mystery things you've seen, like And Then There Were None kind of stuff, sort of thing.
Okay.
Very Hitchcockian, added with a little bit of some other novels, which I can't remember on the top of my head, but I'm sure the comments will explain what it are.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Landis couldn't direct this film because he was directing something else at the time. I forget what it was. But he did get one of his friends to direct it. The director of My Cousin Vinny, surprisingly.
Oh.
Which, unfortunately, if you know the director, he's mostly known for his flops rather than his good films.
Oh.
But this was not one of his flops, thankfully. Thankfully. Whew. So, now that they had the director and the scriptwriter, they had to get a cast for this film.
And from the looks of it, they got Tim Curry.
Yes, they got Tim, and in this one he plays Wadsworth the Butler. And in my opinion, he's pretty much the main character, pretty much. The point with Wadsworth is that he's not a character from the board games. There's no Wadsworth in the board game at all.
He's basically the audience.
He's the audience, yes, and he's trying to figure out the mystery. And in a sense, he pretty much saves the day a lot of the time. But then we also have our own... Oh, strangely enough, before I get to that, do you know who originally was going to play Wadsworth in this film? Oh, some guy you probably heard called Rowan Atkinson.
Oh, cool.
Mr. Bean was going to be in it. But around this time, he was mostly just known in Britain, not America, and they didn't want an unknown British actor, so they passed on him. Little did they know, right? And this was before his Mr. Bean days, also. But... now that's out of the way, let's go on to the ensemble cast. Now there's a lot of really good character actors in the roles of these characters, and one of my first impressions was the actress who plays Mrs. White, actually. She's one of my favorites. And do you know who that is?
Who plays as Mrs. White?
Well, that would be none other than Madeline Kahn in the movie.
Madeline Kahn. Why
Yeah.
does that name sound familiar?
Well, if you know any Mel Brooks films, you'll know that she's Lily Von Shtuck from Blazing Saddles.
Ooh, I remember.
Yeah. Actually, strangely enough, here's something interesting. For the script, they wouldn't allow a lot of improvisation with this script. So, a lot of it was in the script, except one scene. There's a scene near one of the endings where Mrs. White talks about how she was enraged by her husband's infidelity. And she does this really good speech about how there's flames going around on my face. That was entirely improvised. Because the director saw her doing that, he said, "That's so good. Let's keep it in the movie." And the only reason they hired her is because the director was a huge fan of hers from Blazing Saddles. But besides Madeline Kahn, I'm going to tell you the other actors. I'm sorry I have to look this up, folks, but there's a lot of really good character actors in this movie. It's got everyone in this, it seems. Next, we're going to get with Mrs. Scarlet, the femme fatale of the film. And this one, she's played by Leslie Ann Warren.
Leslie Ann Warren.
Now, she's been in a few things like Victoria, but most people, unfortunately, remember her from another film that she was in.
What's that?
The Color of Night, with Bruce Willis.
Never seen it.
You're lucky. You're lucky. The Color of Night's one of those films that was trying to be the next Basic Instinct, but it was so bad. So bad.
Oh, I can imagine.
And unfortunately, we see Bruce Willis's little Bruce there and there.
Okay, enough about that. Who else is in the movie?
Okay. Besides Mrs. Scarlet, we also have Mrs. Peacock, played by Eileen Burnham, who most people remember her from Private Benjamin, pretty much. And I like her character in this because she kind of represents that sort of clueless elderly person stereotype that we like in a lot of things. But is she really a clueless person? That's the question. Because the whole point of the mystery is you have to figure out who done it, so you never really know whose intentions is what, pretty much, kind of thing. Oh, and here's an actor you might remember. In another character is Professor Plum, and guess who plays him?
Who?
Oh, a little person named Christopher Lloyd.
Oh my god, Christopher Lloyd?
The doc's in this.
Holy, that's awesome.
And Christopher Lloyd, once again, brings that same charm that he has in a lot of his stuff, which is strange because this was shot just before Back to the Future, actually. So around this time, Christopher Lloyd was mostly known for his roles in Taxi, like the TV show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was mostly known for that, which is good because, honestly, Christopher Lloyd's one of those guys that can play almost any character, pretty much, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would definitely agree.
He's a really good actor, and not only is he good as a comedic actor, but he also has that kind of creep factor to his thing.
I kind of got the creep factor after seeing him in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
And then we come to our other characters, which is also Mr. Green, played by Michael McKean, who, I'm not sure if you know who Michael McKean is. Have you seen him in a couple stuff?
No, I haven't.
Well, most people remember him from Laverne and Shirley, but to me, he'll always be from the guy from This Is Spinal Tap.
Okay, now I remember who you're talking about.
Yeah. Then there's Martin Mull in this, who plays Colonel Mustard, who most people remember from, I think, Sabrina, or something like that.
Sabrina as in the Teenage Witch, or Sabrina as in the romance movie?
I think it's the Teenage Witch one.
Okay.
But anyways, I like the Martin Muller's Colonel Mustard because he's kind of a cowardly military type, actually, which is kind of a whole subversion thing you would have expected. Because every time I see Colonel Mustard in the board game, he looks like one of those characters from A League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, almost. Oh, pip pip, all that stuff, you know? But after that, then we got a couple of cameos, which are pretty alright. We got Jane Wilding as the singing telegram girl. You might not know who she is, but most people remember her as Joan of Arc from Bill and Ted.
Oh.
Yeah, pretty much.
I saw the clip of like the singing telegram, like
yeah. I am your singing telegram. Gets me every time. And then we've also got Lee Ving as Mr. Body.
Lee Ving.
Now I didn't know who Lee Ving was at first, so I looked it up, and apparently he's from a band actually.
Oh really?
Yeah, Lee Ving was actually in a punk band actually. And he's actually, the punk band that you might have heard of was the band Fear.
Oh, I've heard of the band Fear, but I never listened to them.
Well, now you know. That's your homework. Look up Fear and try to see Lee Ving on there.
Okay.
But my personal favorite character is Colleen Camp in the movie, who plays the French maid Yvette. And let me tell you, they camp up the sex levels with this character.
Really?
Oh yeah, we're talking like panty shots, big bounty boobs, all that stuff, you know?
Oh my.
I've even looked at some of the DeviantArt stuff, and for the love of God, do not look at that stuff without a safe shirt on.
It's that nasty, isn't it?
Well, I remember her from another film where we also got to see her assets, Apocalypse Now. She was the Playmate of the Month, I think.
Ah.
Or Playmate of the Year, technically. And she's really good in that. I actually do respect her as an actress. I really do. But now that we got the cast out of the way, is there anything else you would like to know?
Yeah, like, what's the movie like? Like, what do you think of the movie overall?
It's kind of weird with this film because it feels like it's trying to be a bunch of things at once, and in some cases it does it pretty well, but in the other times it feels like it's kind of drawn it out too much. You see, when this film came out, they wanted it to be a mixture of dark comedy with a murder mystery, pretty much, right?
Yeah, that could work if you...
It can work, yeah. It really can. But the problem was, when this film came out, it was torn apart by critics, and not a lot of people saw it because of one thing.
What?
It's how to explain? It has multiple endings in the thing.
I think they did that because they wanted to make it more interesting for the audience. Like when they saw like this movie, like that ending comes.
It would be seen. It would be all the endings would be shown in multiple theaters, different theaters. So you'd have to go to a different theater to see each ending, pretty much. So that way you can drive up ticket prices.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I think there's another reason they do that. Also, they want to invoke the kind of thing that every Clue game has in common. It has a lot of... It's not one narrative, pretty much, you know?
No.
It's whatever you make it out to be, and the ending especially, pretty much. And it even does have nods to that, like they have the weapons from the game are in the movie also. The pistol, the candlestick, the knife, the rope, a bunch of other stuff I can't quite remember off the top of my head. I think a wrench and a lead pipe also. But besides that, if it kind of felt like it was trying to cram in too much stuff, almost. I like the idea that it is a core, it's kind of like a dark comedy in a way, especially with the murders. It's kind of shown in like a very light tone, surprisingly enough, actually. But I suppose most people aren't into that, so that's why it kind of failed at the box office also. But besides that, it was pretty alright. And now, I want to talk about the endings, actually, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay, so...
Wait, are you going to spoil the movie?
I suppose. Can I do that?
Well, I haven't seen the movie, so... You're gonna have to talk about spoilers when I'm gone.
Oh. Wait. Where's Aaron? Hello? Anyone? Anybody know where Aaron is? Is he here? Is it just me? Okay. Wait. If he's not here, I can get to the spoiler parts. Shh. Okay. So now I'm gonna talk about the spoilers. Let's get a little closer. Okay. So as I said before, there's technically 3 endings to this movie. Now, originally there was going to be 4, and even Tim Curry himself admits that there are technically 4. Apparently, according to him, there was going to be one where Wadsworth kills everyone, apparently because he was the killer the whole time, but it's not really focused on, and it's only in the book version. Oh, which is a shame, because if anybody's going to play a psycho killer, Tim Curry can play it, I feel. And unfortunately, I found out that he said this just after he had suffered his stroke, so hang in there, Tim. We're all rooting for you, buddy. But besides that, let's get on to the endings and the way that I would rank them. Okay, so there's the first ending. The first ending, it's established that apparently Miss Scarlet was the one that killed everyone. But Tim Curry was onto her the whole time because he's actually working with the FBI. And it's also established that he was working with the cops the whole time, so they know what's going to happen. And he's the one that saves the day, pretty much. As he would say, "Oh please, communism was just a red herring, nothing more." And he even gets to channel his inner Clark Gable to say, "Well, frankly, Scarlet, I don't give a damn." Second one is the one where Miss Peacock was actually the one that committed all the murders because she was trying to cover up the fact that her husband accepted foreign bribes at the time. And I can understand that, being that it's the 1950s, height of the Cold War, all that stuff. And we find out that she escapes, and unfortunately she doesn't get fired because the cops are right outside, as usual. There's the third one, where apparently Colonel Mustard was using this to hide everything. And apparently Miss White was the one that killed Yvette, actually. And that's where the one where we get Madeline Kahn's improvised moment, the one with the flames are on my face, all that stuff. But that's that. And once again, all the cops come in and they arrest everyone. But it turns out, in this version, Mr. Green was actually an FBI informant. And for some reason this one, it turns out that he's not gay the entire time. He's actually straight, which I'm like, why would they do that? Retroactively, it makes no sense, pretty much. But that's just me. So, how would I rank the endings for this movie? Okay, my least favorite one would have to be probably the second one, actually. It's good and everything, but it doesn't really feel like it has a lot of oomph to it. It kind of feels like it was just kind of thrown in just to get Mrs. Peacock involved, fine, because I'm gonna be honest with you, her character in this movie kind of is getting less and less attention by the end, pretty much, and I feel like they only threw that in just to finally say, oh, by the way, she's in this film. So, I'd have to say that's my least favorite one. The middle one, the one I like and don't like, would have to be the third one, the last one, because I do like it for the fact that it actually ties it in Colonel Mustard finally, because I kind of felt like he would have been the original villain in these things. And I like the whole improvised speech that Madeline Kahn does. That was really funny, and my god, I'm so sad that she was taken from us too soon, pretty much. But the one thing I don't like is the change they do to Mr. Green's character. I feel like it's totally unnecessary, and it's just added in just for no reason, pretty much. I kind of felt like it's sort of like a breaking of the whole thing that we were established when watching it. But my favorite one would be the first one, because I've said it once, and I'll say it again, Clue is Wadsworth's story, pretty much. And I kind of feel like he's the hero of the story the entire time. I mean, yeah, Tim Curry is known for playing bad guys, but he can play some good heroes once in a while. And this is one where we finally get to see him shine as a good guy. And we finally get to see him out. He's sort of like his top acting style. We finally get to see it. And that's why I like the first one better, because it kind of feels like an ending that I can get behind, actually. So, that's the ranking of the endings. The best thing to do is to find out where Aaron is and who's right.
Oh, hey, how's it going? What are you talking about?
Hey, but you, where the hell did...
What are you talking about?
Okay, this is gonna sound a little crazy, but you were literally gone for a few minutes.
I was here this whole time.
Okay, is Rod Sterling around somewhere? Is this a Twilight Zone episode?
Let's just talk about your overall, your final thoughts on Clue.
Okay, well, I don't agree that it's a good... I agree that it is not a perfect murder mystery, because, yeah, the mystery seems a bit contrived at times. But I will agree it's a good movie, pretty much. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters to me. And like I say, I'm a sucker for Tim Curry. And I think we should probably, give our respect to Tim, because ever since he had his stroke, I've been worried about him. So
yeah.
Hang in there, Tim. We're all in this together, buddy.
Yes, we all are.
But overall, I would have to say that this film gets a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10?
7 out of 10 for me.
Okay.
And speaking of clues, I think I gotta find the mystery about where the hell you went for a few minutes.
Alright, and while you're at it, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button if you haven't already. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, along with the bell for the notification. And be sure to follow us on our social medias, such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You name it. And I hope to see you guys next time.
Yep, see you guys.